Hey guys, my name is Garrett Clark. I am the founder and CEO of the Roller Monkey, which is a rolled ice cream shop here in Statesboro, Georgia. My position in relationship to the topics that we'll be covering today, entrepreneurship, branding, and advertising. We're around entrepreneurship, really we'll get into that. That'll be the primary discussion that I focus on as an individual who is working to build multiple locations through the franchise model. And I think that encompasses a lot of the entrepreneurship facets. Around branding, just to give you a brief insight into how I apply branding, I actually was the lead on the design for our logo here, as well as the lead architect for the design of our interior. So a big part of our focus is creating to inspire. That's one of our mottos. And branding is really the essence, the foundation which that started on. It kind of embodies what is it that we are looking to do. The monkey being a representation of something deep and related to nature that we can all connect with. So a commonality with all of humanity. And then the jungle theme, which is a part of the environment which you immerse yourself into. Very much a Disney-esque type vibe that we're going for. Whenever you enter Disney World, Disneyland, you're crossing a threshold and entering a world that brings you into the present, that brings you into an escape, which ties into one of the ways that we convey through marketing that which we're doing. And that is one of the problems that we're solving, is help bring people into the present to where they can connect with people. And all of this kind of ties together. But I did come from a architectural background. My grandfather was an architect, and I studied drafting and architecture throughout high school, but never applied it. I went into civil, and I'll get into some of those details here in a minute when we get into profession. But this was my opportunity to finally exercise those kind of art abilities. So with the architecture, the layout, the flow of things, as well as kind of the immersive experience that equates to, and then getting into the fine details, really being extremely thorough with what all comes together to give it that overall feel. And we've got a great response from our customers and different entities acknowledging us on our immersive experience. So I do have a little bit of background in branding, no particular, let's say, traditional education around that, but kind of bringing the architecture in with just attention to detail. With some of the previous art projects that I've done, I think have equated to our branding success, along with working with the right people. So if I didn't have the skills and abilities to bring it together, I would definitely outsource those to people who really have those strengths. And then with advertisement, this has been something, again, that I did not start out with, but it has something that has developed and I think has become very successful. So this was a presentation that I put together to convey to the National Ice Cream Retailers Association National Conference here in the United States. And it is an annual conference that is put on every year for ice cream business owners. My subject focus was videography, using video to market and promote my business. And that is due to the success that we've had throughout our venture thus far with Roller Monkey. So I guess acknowledged as a thought leader in this space, to where I'm teaching other business owners how to effectively promote their business by leveraging marketing tactics. So I'm not going to get too in depth around that, but there are some solid points within this segment that if you're interested in, I can share it, and we can cover that in a more detailed fashion at a later point in time. But yeah, that's kind of a high level look of entrepreneurship, branding, and advertising within my background. Company name, I've covered that with you guys, and bear with me as I use a little legend over here off to the left to kind of really help me ensure that I'm covering all the main points that you guys may be interested in. But getting into the actual product that we're really delivering here is rolled ice cream. And how we do it, I think I will take the time to kind of articulate this here because it really is a little bit different. But welcome to the show. Rolling Monkey Handcrafted Ice Cream is made to order by skilled artisans who start the process by pouring a locally sourced, super premium liquid ice cream into a below freezing surface. And I do want to speak to these points. Skilled artisans, so hibachi style ice cream is what we like to call it. Going back to kind of that which resonates deeply with all, when developing this business, I really wanted to ensure that it was something that would connect with basically any human out there. And I've seen a lot of success with the hibachi model because you have an individual that is engaging, performing a show in front of you while preparing your food. So if you like steak, you can go have it done that way. If you like ice cream in a similar fashion, you have this canvas that we call it here, where we are artisans that create to inspire, that we are actually not only delivering the super premium ice cream, which actually is a thing. There's standard ice creams, premium ice creams, and super premium ice creams. So think standard, a soft serve from Dairy Queen. Think premium Brewster's premium ice cream, and then a super premium, let's say us. And if you have been to Leopold's in Savannah, that is another super premium, and that's based on the air content and the butterfat content that is within that. And those ratios equate to what tier it's in. But not only do we provide the top tier ice cream, which is a super premium, but we're also providing a show. And this show is a very immersive, engaging experience that we work to develop. This is our first model here in Statesboro, but we are looking to scale and further refine and further develop that in captivating show while providing an ice cream. Due to how fast it freezes, it really actually translates to a smoother, creamier product because of those ice crystals, or actually they're smaller. So imagine an ice cream that has been thawed out and then frozen again. So that freeze will actually equate to the ice crystals being larger and then crunchier. And so that's less sought after. You want a smoother, creamier product. And that process that we do on these frozen plates actually equates to that point. So we covered the ice cream, covered pretty much the show around connection, the atmosphere, which the branding element really goes into the atmosphere, and inspiration. So one of our missions, which I'll get down to here into a little bit, is to inspire people who inspire the world. So we have hundreds of people come through our doors each and every day, and we really work to elevate their experience, to bring them up to a state of joy and elevation. And we do that by creating to inspire. So we're creating that ice cream, and we are delivering these big smiles and elevated experiences. So that really is our primary focus first and foremost. So that's our mission. And we are brick and mortar. So we have the brick and mortar here in Statesboro. We also have a catering setup that we've been slowly working to develop in parallel, and where we go to weddings and things such as that. Let's see if I have weddings. So here, yep, you can see some of the different wedding venues that we've been to here, but we get to bring that experience there on site. And let me tell you, we are the life of the party, not to boast, but when we come there and we connect with the DJ, and there's a big line and kind of the energy that we bring to the table, and a lot of people have never seen the rolled ice cream before, but it still resonates with them because, again, it's the kind of hibachi dynamic of connecting and kind of the show element coupled with just amazing ice cream. So that's been something that we've been developing in time. We also do offer T-shirts and things such as that, and in time we will be getting more into the design space. Right now, this has not been a top priority, but are excited about further designs. We've come up with some really cool designs for our interns, with their internship shirts, with custom artisan shirts. Our birthdays, we do some special shirts and things like that. And in time, we will start selling those more customized shirts. But in the meantime, we've just got the basic options that you can see here. And then regarding HQ, from a brick and mortar perspective and kind of business perspective, we are selling ice cream. We're providing the experience. We do have some merchandise. But then from the HQ, headquarter development perspective, our client is our interns, and in time will be owner-operators. So we're developing a infrastructure that will supporting other people and helping these people basically get into the sweet spot, which is me high, chick sit me high from the psychological perspective, calls that flow. And then so bringing you into the flow zone to where you're not overwhelmed and you're not bored, but in that sweet spot of flow where there's meaning and there's purpose, and you're in that kind of optimal state of human performance. But there we look to serve the interns. I'm actually going to pause this and find some material around the internship program that I think will be worthwhile sharing with you guys. Okay, so jumping into our internship program, you can see here before the internship program, there's a lot of different steps that we go through in order to ensure that we're bringing on the right members that align with our core values, that are really eager to do what it is that we're looking to do with our internship program. And within this program, really the purposes here are assistance with current and future projects, so a bandwidth increase for what all efforts that we're doing, in addition to developing individuals, right? Being able to give back. That's a big part of our core values, which I'll get to here in a minute. But building leaders and helping people chase their dreams, that is definitely a big part of what it is that we're doing here, if not the primary part of just helping unlock the potential within people. And then identifying potential team members. So there's actually a pretty cool way that we're doing this right now, when we have our interns that are rated on quality of work and professionalism, which acts as a really good feedback loop that allows them to understand where they're at relative to what they're working on, and we really are intentional with in assigning different tasks that they can work on. For example, here with our IT interns, SEO optimization and some different things there, but we've got checklists with very clear success criteria spelled out, and then as this is done, then they'll progress it on over here to the done folder and such. But yeah, it's a pretty cool way that we are getting things done here, and this is one of our boards for one of our teams, but they are being tracked and evaluated based on that performance, and that allows us to basically identify individuals that can then come onto our HQ team, which we've done this far. Our project specialist, Tally, she now has a full-time job with us as our project specialist. We had an accounting intern who is now taking on our bookkeeping. We are soon to hire on a videography intern that worked within our multimedia group. Marketing, we are bringing on a marketing intern that basically proved herself within the program, and yeah, that we've got more people coming on board in addition to that. So that's exciting to identify potential team members, as well as adding value to Georgia Southern by establishing key partnerships. Basically, the way we envision this is if we can come in and kind of be the ones who pave the path of really laying out an infrastructure that equates to a beautiful win-win with both the company and the intern, by receiving value on both ends, that is the bandwidth support with actually accomplishing our target and objectives on the business side, but then the interns needing that experience, stepping on board and being a part of a startup to where they actually really get to see a lot of the intricacies and structures of a business, where within, let's say, a larger organization that traditionally internships are developed or offered, they're very rigid and there's not a lot of things outside of that narrow scope. Versus a small business, if the small business has the infrastructure, the program to support the internship, then the intern can really see a lot of different parts of how a business works. We want to really help to bridge that gap to where basically with a certain infrastructure, any small business can leverage that to leverage the resources of the top talent and young, inexperienced talent, and develop that win-win to where the interns have many different options to choose from. They're not having to travel crazy distances to go different places, and limited to just the few options they have. They have a plethora of options that may align with their core values and such. And I just see it being a great overall win. So that's one of the things that we're doing with the internship programs in the universities. Okay. So now moving into my background. All right, so I graduated from Georgia Southern in 2013 with a civil engineering degree, where I really focused on structure and mathematics and really kind of honing that area of my skill set. That coupled with kind of the previous more artistic side of things, where initially I was pursuing, I think gives me a good foundation to be able to have the discipline to accomplish, as well as have the creativity to do things outside of the box. But really, the past 5-7 years have been a lot more on the discipline side and structure side. But I come from 2 Japanese companies, both Fortune 500 companies, where I was responsible for the value streams, basically mapping the value streams and seeing what all goes into the whole business, from of ordering a product all the way to the shipment of that product. So mapping those states and identifying the bottlenecks, the gaps, the opportunities within that whole flow. So there's a tool called a value stream map that we leveraged from Toyota, which was a partner with one of the businesses. Mitsubishi Hitachi Power Systems was the first company that I went to work for. We built large gas frame turbines. There, I was able to really see how big of an impact people and culture played on the business. So as I started mapping these processes out and just really seeing where's the real bottleneck, I understood that it was with communication. It was with trust. And once everyone was in alignment with understanding what is the mission, things really began to happen in a very powerful way. And so it then became my big interest to start looking at culture dynamics and hierarchies and how to bring those together to make the best, most optimal culture of people being in their best state. That is a state of happiness, while there is productivity in that flow state that I tell you guys about, where there is not an excessive amount of boredom, that there is a fair degree of challenge, as well as not being too challenged, not too overwhelmed. And that really is a big part, and I can get into that here in a minute, of what leads me into some of my focuses with the business now, Roll Monkey. But then from there, I went on to JTech North America, where I directed a team dedicated to problem solving and critical improvements. And from there, I then wanted to move at a faster pace, so I opened up my own business to where I could own and implement those ideas and theories of all the study that I was going through. In a traditional Fortune 500 company, it's a very large establishment that is going to be more rigid because it is successful, and you don't want to change things too quickly with something that works, because it can then quickly fall apart. Versus a newer, smaller company is more agile, and that gave me the opportunity to try new things quicker, versus the larger, more stagnant organizations not being able to move as quick as I desired. So that was a big part of why I transitioned and opened up my own business as an entrepreneur, and leaving these great positions behind. But yeah, that's a little bit of my background there. And then what got me interested in all of this? This is something that I'm really excited to share. This is really where the story comes to life. And we've got a couple of different stories that are written up here. We've got one that Megan compiled that has been shared. There's a distilled version on Facebook that we initially shared with the community that resonated very well. We leveraged the hero's journey format. If you're not familiar with the hero's journey, check that out. Think Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 within movies and storytelling. But instead of going in depth and really going through all of these specific details here, I'm just going to convey the essence of kind of what moved us into this space. In addition, there is another good write-up. Last month, Moment Magazine did a write-up on us, and we were featured on the cover of their magazine that really gives a great gives a great insight into our lives and kind of how this journey took place. I highly recommend that you guys check that out if you're interested in our story, as I think the authors did a great job with bringing that to life and sharing our story. But yeah, really it comes down to purpose, which is something that we've really worked very hard to share with others to hopefully solve the problem that we believe that we're solving here, and that is to do something that we love and that serves back, gives to our community, that we can be good at and that we can get compensated for. So this really comes from taking a look at where we currently were, both Megan and I, in our careers and in our life. We were good at what we did and we definitely got compensated for it. Well, Megan not so much because she was a teacher, but that's another discussion for another day. I do wish that teachers got paid a little bit more, at least on par with engineers and doctors and such, being that they are the ones that are developing the future leaders of the world. So rather than being reactive, let's be proactive and invest in our teachers so they can invest in our children. But anyways, checking the boxes there. Southern did a great job of ensuring that our profession was, that we were prepared to be professionals. But the thing that the typical university does not do is ensure that you love what it is that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, and ensure that it gives back to your community. You know, that you show up and you're able to serve, to get that need met to where you feel useful. Because if you don't meet this need, you will feel useless. If you don't meet this need, you will feel empty. This Venn diagram here is a distillation of the Okinawans from Japan, which is a small little region in Japan, which on average lives 7 years longer than the next longest living group of individuals in Japan. And I thought this was a great indication as to how to live the best life. So as an engineer, I love reverse engineering things. I always, instead of reinventing the wheel, I go find the best wheel and then look to reverse engineer that and improve upon that. And so that's what I was looking to do here. And I wasn't the only one that found this interesting. There was a group of scientists and researchers that went and studied them and wrote a book on this group, and come to find out, besides the healthy eating and a couple of other little small things, kind of from the psychological perspective, they all did something within the vast majority of their day that they loved, that gave back to the community, that allowed them to put food on the table, and that they were good at. And that really allowed them to be some of the most happy, fulfilled individuals in the world, along as the longest living individuals. So Megan and I took some time to kind of evaluate, well, where do we fall within that? And for me, the love, it was probably like a 6 out of 10. As far as giving back, probably like a 5 out of 10 for me. Now, these other two areas, extremely strong. And then so Megan and I took a journey to comb through and look at different business opportunities. And for about 2 years, we plugged in different ideas until we identified something that resonated and met all of these for each of us. And that was the rolled ice cream model. And that allowed us to then really start honing into this thing and making it something that we could realistically do to meet this problem of doing something of purpose that ensured that we followed that which was in alignment with our religion, as Jesus teaches, to love and to serve others. And that was a very important part, that I could move forward with my faith and spend the majority of my day doing something that was in alignment with that. So that leads me to our mission. So our mission is to inspire people who inspire the world. Basically give people hope, to allow people to look at the light instead of the dark, and to elevate people. It's really tough for me to convey all of the many things that we do. We're still working to really distill this down and articulate it effectively. But the specific mission there at the shop is our retail stores specifically do this by providing an unforgettable experience to our communities by inspiring both children and adults through a positive, engaging show of artisanship. That purpose gives us that intrinsic motivation to show up and get through the tough times. And our vision is to change the way that retail businesses do business by unlocking the potential in people. We really want to be that example. And to go a little bit deeper in that, our vision is to change the way that retail businesses do business by unlocking the potential in people. We aim to develop and showcase a people-first business model that delivers the ultimate business win-win. That is fulfillment and ROI, return on investment. A model that brings the best in people out, that turns people on in the best way, that's intrinsically motivated, so that they're able to have a positive impact on their community, so that they can become leaders that build other leaders. That is, people who have the capabilities, skill sets, and abilities to go into the world and accomplish what they desire. That is, reach their dreams. So that's a big undertaking, but it's something that Megan and I are both very passionate about. She, with teaching and helping to develop young leaders, is so important and something she loves doing, and it definitely gives back. And with me, with the culture dynamics that I got into with designing culture and how do the hierarchies work together with one another to where you can set those up to where they can be conducive to flow, the performance. And this concept here, I talked about Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's model of flow, where I want everyone in every business is to be in the flow zone. I want them to be focused and happy. That's when your abilities and your challenges, there's a one-to-one ratio. And the beautiful thing is, this is the ultimate business win-win. So I talk about within this vision of the ultimate business win-win, that is fulfillment and return on investment. Well, how do we do that? The businesses have the abilities to design and change these two variables. They have the abilities to change the challenges and the abilities to change the abilities, the skills. So we can either train, or there's the sink or swim method, but we have those abilities to place our employees in these different states. So we can challenge them more and bring them into an anxious state, or we can reduce that challenge and or build those skills up to where they can be prepared to take on work. But the key is keeping them here in this one-to-one ratio to where they're happy. And there has to also be a degree of meaning tied into that, of purpose. And so we work with all of our team to help them understand what is their purpose, what is it that they love doing, what is it that gives back to the world for them. And then when they become good at that, they'll get paid for that, right? And so ideally with Roll a Monkey, we're finding individuals that love serving other people, that love inspiring people, and love unlocking the potential in people. So when they come on board and they work with us, well, they get paid for that. And then they get to develop their skill in that and progress with that. And we want to be that example. You know, we know Roll a Monkey's not going to do this and be every business, but if we can inspire other businesses, which we have, we've had the district manager of Starbucks bring her team in with all of her managers to study us for a half day, as well as Chick-fil-A. Megan has sat down and met with the HR director a couple of different times, and where they're asking about our hiring process, how we bring in the great people that we have that are equating to the amazing reviews and results that we have. The hiring process is definitely important, but it's not the only thing. There's a lot of work around culture and everything, but it is a testament to showing that it can be done, that with this first location, we've already inspired two of the most renowned businesses when it comes to culture. So we want to continue to do this, continue to be an example, to be what we call inspiration stations. So imagine a Roll a Monkey as it opens its doors in a community. It is an inspiration station. It is something that allows thousands of individuals to come through its doors each week. And then instead of coming through and receiving that product and touching people and being demoralized, let's say some of the examples that we've seen in retail today, where it's just transactional. You know, people are almost rude during the transactions, but instead of them declining after that experience, they're elevated. So not only do they receive that tangible thing that they're purchasing, but they're also being elevated by the people they're working with. And that to me is the exciting thing, the thing that we can really do and allow this vision to come to life while it being in alignment with our core values and doing those great things that I feel humanity needs. You know, some of the problems that we've got out there today are people not being inspired by the work they do. We want to solve that problem. as well as people are becoming disconnected from other people. Well, it's part of all of this drive towards placing money as the primary value, and it's just all transaction, dollar, dollar, dollar. But where's the love? Where's the service of others? That's the part that we want to bring back into business, as well as people are no longer embodying their work. So to go a little step more specific with the artisans, like we do art, right? We are the hibachi chef, but for ice cream, which is a big part of what we're losing today. Everything is becoming automated. And I was a part of that, where I would go into an area and automate and implement machines in place of individuals. Now, we wouldn't fire those individuals, but we would find other work for them to do. But most big businesses, that's kind of the future, is automation. It's all about efficiency. It's all about quick transaction, and we're losing that. So let's see the way I articulated it here. Efficiency over effectiveness. Today, I see everything becoming efficient, even if that means no longer interacting with people. People working with their hands is becoming a thing of the past. Here at Roll Monkey, you will find people who create to inspire by art, handcrafting ice cream. This is done without losing the connection with people. And then to this particular question that I'm speaking about, I've got a caption here, what brought me personally into this kind of work? And I said, constantly seeing the gaps within businesses and feeling as though I could contribute to the solution. That is a win-win for both the investors and the employees. Companies are selling themselves short by not tapping into people's full potential, which is their most valuable asset, resulting in unfulfilled employees and an ineffective business. So basically, I want to get out there and I want to unlock the potential in people, and to where people can show up and they can have fun and get more stuff done. So that's really what we're after, what we're going for, and that's what brought me to this kind of work. So moving on, how would you describe your average work day? Okay, well, let's take a look at that. Average work day. So here you can see where we're at today. Perform some of this work. So this ended up taking a little bit more time. So here's today, and here's a glimpse of this week. So let's just take a look at today. So you can see there's some different things going on here. The way I kicked it off today, we hopped on the road, listened to an audiobook on the drive. I met with our project specialist for her leadership meeting, where once a month we come together and just look at developing her leadership. And then I started working on this GSU guest speaker recording. And then I had some backlog tasks, basically needed to find some actions for my interns to keep them on track. So I'm responsible for the IT group and the manufacturing engineering interns. Tally is responsible for industrial organizational psych interns, and Megan is responsible for the multimedia and marketing interns. And then we do have accounting, but we're not doing that program this semester. But we perform some of those backlog tasks and ensure that everybody's got work that they're clear doing. And then evaluating to core values and just ensuring that we're staying grounded to that mission and not getting caught up in kind of the minutia of tasks and things such as that. And then later today, I'll be meeting with the film interns, where we're doing a shoot at the shop and working to bring all of that together to where we can roll out kind of a commercial. And then we'll be developing some stuff for our hiring program, and then working on our shop playlist. So Mondays are actually pretty lax days for us because the shop is closed, but then things pick up throughout the week a little bit more. Owning a business, there are a lot of different hats that you wear. And at times, it can be overwhelming, but structure really helps with that, and reoccurrences and trying to develop standard work is very important. But to kind of get a picture from a different perspective, I had Tally perform this, which kind of gives you an idea from top to bottom what we're looking at here. And so within 1 week, these were kind of the different things. So from franchise development, partnerships, marketing, Trello, which is an infrastructure which allows us to manage tasks, consultation, helping other business owners out, working with the customers and employees, the shop upkeep, still figuring out some maintenance components there, quality time, with family, friends, ensuring that recovery is still there, rest and recovery, eating, internship work, education, morning routines, stretching and meditation, prayer, the planning aspect, getting ready, financial reporting, taxes, strategic planning, growth development, legal stuff, emails, meetings, events, and then on the road quite a bit. So I think that gives a pretty good idea of what a week looks like with us. So moving on, what do you wish you had known before starting out in this job? So I went ahead and just captured this, and I'll read it off. I would say the amount of work that I would have to perform and how tough it would have been. However, I'm glad I didn't know this, because if I would have, I most likely would have remained comfortable where I was. And throughout this venture, I have learned invaluable life lessons and developed something much bigger than myself. And I would never take any of that back. So yeah, if I would have saw what I would have had to have done, I probably would have said, no, I'm just going to remain comfortable. And I'm glad that I didn't, because it's equated to a lot of learnings and character development. So, that's my response on that. And then what are the biggest challenges and greatest successes in this position? There's a lot that I could speak to there, but pulling off the unrealistic deadlines with limited resources, basically doing the impossible. You really get to see how creative and resourceful a person can be when everything is on the line. What skills and personality attributes are the most essential for this position? So this is something that I'd actually captured from reading a book. It was called, The J Curve. And within the J Curve, and specifically around startups, it's a serial entrepreneur who had done a lot of different startups. And what he conveyed were the top 5 characteristics were resourcefulness, resilience, comfort with the unknown, perseverance, and sales ability. And so this was one of the things where I've got on my calendar here, calibrate to core values and evaluate and rate. So I've actually got some measures that I rate myself against to make sure that I'm still optimized or staying in that optimal spot for my roles and responsibilities. And I would say I'm very strong in all of these, but the one that's given me the biggest challenge is comfort with the unknown, which fortunately I'm a Christian, and if I have faith, then that handles that. So just continuing to have to have that faith and be okay with the unknown, because there's always unknowns that pop up, right? We build this thing of order and structure and understanding, but example, COVID hits, then chaos ensues. It's really being able to adapt and adjust and just keep moving forward. And that's one of the reasons that we focus so heavily on culture, is because if the culture's there, they can help us do that, because we're a collective team that can be anti-fragile, right? So when we get shaken, we actually get stronger versus being fragile, which is really cool. And I highly suggest that you guys look into the anti-fragile concept. I really think it does a great job of addressing black swan problems, which black swan problems are like second, third magnitude of order issues that unforeseen that surface, even though your risk analysts don't see them coming. Right? It's like a magnitude 8 earthquake here in Georgia. They come. And moving on, what advice would I tell someone trying to enter this field? Love it. Ensure you can build a position around your unique ability. That is what you're good at and adds value. So again, coming back to this here, this is what it's all about. Ensure that you do what you love, ensure that it serves, ensure that you can be good at it, and then focus on the pay last. Don't let the primary focus be on pay. First, it needs to be love, and then develop that, and then you can serve people, and then you can get paid. Follow that sequence, and then ensure that you have clarity around your vision, your mission, and your core values. It's critical. So keep those top of mind throughout the whole venture and continue to refine them along the way. I hope that you guys found this of value and see some key insights there that you can apply in your own venture. Take care.